everybody. We're going to get started here. This is a good sized crowd for a December event. Hopefully you guys can hear me in the back. Thanks everybody for coming out tonight. Really appreciate it. I was unsure of how many of you would want to come out, given that we're less than a week away, or a week away from Christmas, I guess. But really appreciate having you here. We're just going to run through a few quick items, and then we'll get to our two great talks for tonight. But hopefully you already grabbed some pizza here. It looks like it might be on its last leg. There's some salad left, and also some soda, so feel free to help yourself there. Restrooms, if you haven't been here before, there are some restrooms around the bank of elevators. Otherwise, straight across the hall, there's going to be some gender-neutral restrooms right there as well. So, yeah, that's really all I have for that housekeeping. But real quick, I wanted to thank our sponsors for tonight. Xactly is sponsoring the event, so please do give them a round of applause. They got us all this food beverages here, and we couldn't do it without them. So huge thanks to them, and then as always, thanks to Turing and Salt for helping keep this meetup alive. And really, it's the support we get from our sponsors that allows us to do this and provide food and beverages for you guys. So real quick, I know we have some people who listed jobs up here on the board, but I wanted to give an opportunity to anybody who wants to speak about some positions that are open right now. Is there anyone who wants to talk? Yeah.
Thanks. Hey everyone, Justin Wesley here, and I work at Connect, and we are in a pretty sweet spot in the Lower Highlands on the 4th floor. So if you've ever been to L5, we're right below that. And we work on a platform that displays things on televisions, and so if you're interested in that, it's a full stack position that we're kind of looking for. And I threw some of the buzzwords up there, but if you want to know more, just talk to me after the meeting, and I'll happily talk to you then. Feel free to otherwise send me contact with your resume and that if you're interested at my email. Thanks.
Cool. Anyone else? Nice job. Killed it. Yeah.
What's up, everyone? My name is Will Kirko. I am the Learn to Code instructor over at Galvanize. I'm currently not hiring, but I'm looking for people who are hiring. So if you want to chat with me, I'm hanging out in the corner. I brought some resumes. If you want to chat during this or after this, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
He killed it. Anyone else? No other jobs. I will say I placed this position up here for Emily. She is the director over at Cuddlesoft, and she wanted me to let you all know that they're looking for some contract developers, React and React Native. So feel free to look her up, or come talk to me. I can get you in touch with her if that's something that interests you. Moving on, want to make a few announcements. If you guys are a part of the meetup group, you probably received an email from me today regarding some sponsorship. And I do want to, actually, tangent from that, our streaming setup here today, apologies to anybody on the live stream, but we kind of had a mess up with the microphone situation. Really all it was Turing organized their stuff over here, so it looks nice, but we're just missing our cable, so hopefully you're able to hear us all right. Kevin came through and got us a nice microphone. So, but leading into that, the reason I mention it is because we are trying to do some bigger things for this meetup, and part of that is really getting our own equipment to facilitate, a better live stream situation, maybe different food options, different apparel for you all, whether that be stickers and t-shirts or who knows what, hats, what have you. So if you saw my email today, we are just looking for some more support, whether that be through sponsors like your employer or potentially at the individual level. So I would encourage you to check out your inbox if you haven't seen that already, but quick TLDR, we have an open collective now. And if you're not familiar with Open Collective, it allows different open source groups and meetups like ourselves to accept funding in a way that's tax deductible for you guys and really takes some of the heavy lifting off of our shoulders. So I would encourage you to check out our Urban Collective. I don't know why. We've already had a few people contribute, and that's great. We're actually halfway to our goal of funding our last meetup. So huge thanks to everybody who's already contributed. That's awesome. That's frankly better than I expected. So if you want to check that out and donate to us during the season, that would be great. If you can't, that's totally fine too. We're just happy you're here. So that is my plea for money out of the way. We have two great speakers tonight. In fact, I think it's both of those speakers' first time speaking at the meetup. So yeah, we're thrilled to have new speakers. And if any of you guys really want to give a first talk, come talk to me because we're always trying to get new people involved. So our first talk tonight, though, is from Justin Duncan. He is a Turing student currently. Justin, where are you? Yeah, everybody, please welcome Justin.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, you have to disconnect.
So it's Sam's.
Yep, blame Sam.
It's cool.
Didn't know how to handle that.
All right, hello, everyone. My name is Justin. I'm in front-end Mod 2 here at Turing. And today I'll talk to you about how I came to start learning React and Redux by making an RPG. Okay, so a little history of me. I love computing and computers. Just two memories I wanted to share with you. One, when I was a kid, I made a program that basically took in a name and would just give you back randomly like some string. And I remember programming this thing as a kid and being really motivated about it because, while it was over the day or two that it took me to make this, I kept thinking about when I would invite my friends over and they would go to my computer and use it and sort of see their faces and how excited they'd be. And, it really motivated me to get through that and figure out how to make the computer do the thing. And the second thing is a little later on in life, at a job, one of my coworkers, he managed a soccer team, and he would talk to me about how he had to manually input data and manipulate it, and it was a real pain. And I told him, like, hey, it's no worries, I can make an app for you that would make your life a little easier. And to do that, I had to learn Swift and how to put this app like on the App Store, iOS App Store. And it took me about a week, but I remember being really motivated about that as well because I just couldn't wait to give him this finished product, something that would make his life a little better. And so fast forwarding to now, like, I decided to do a career change like most people come to Turing. so that I could be a software developer and continue to make products for people who really want to use them. So something about Turing, that, as we all know, is it's really fast-paced, and a lot of material they teach also isn't very easy. So I found myself needing to pre-read a lot of the material and also do a lot of like mini examples on my home computer with upcoming technologies. And in doing this, something kind of odd happened. So I really like programming, like I said, but I found myself taking, like, as I did more and more like to-do list apps and like contrived examples, like needing to take breaks a lot more. Like one time that really sticks out is when I was reading a Medium post, and you know they'll put on there like it's like a 5-minute read or a 10-minute read. Really, it was like I was going by paragraph when I would take breaks, just because like I just wasn't motivated. And I remember this is sort of like my face. Every time I would try to like, or I would go to implement like some new piece of technology, it was like another to-do list app. And like I was just literally looking at the computers, like just thinking like, here we go again. And so no matter how enthused I was about it, like ultimately I ended up here. And so really what this slide is saying now is it wasn't really about my attitude, it was my motivation. And what most people don't realize is motivation is controlled by your subconscious. And your subconscious is a really powerful thing. It controls things like how sleepy, or when you get sleepy, tired, you know, hungry, and when you get full. Even your motivation, like I said, so it's pretty powerful. But you can influence it to work in your favor. So some things I recommend, or some things that you can do, or reasons to do it, is so you can fight boredom and become more motivated, like I said, and so you can stop making to-do list apps. So this is some things like I could find myself doing like during these breaks away from a 5-minute medium read. This would easily turn into like an hour, you know, and then I'd have to reread it because I forgot what the post was even about. So some things that we all use daily, and some things that I really enjoy, I list here on the left. And so like when you go into like, for example, to learn React, the first one, TweetDeck, you know, a lot of people use Twitter, and you can use you can make a TweetDeck clone, and you can start with something simple, like maybe making lots of nested divs and play around with the animations that comes with React, and so on. With Gmail, you can first play around with just pulling in the messages, or maybe sending one. Just something that you would use daily, and it would sort of subconsciously motivate you, whether you know it or not, to implement on this thing that you had instead of just deleting it when you're finished. And on the right, your motivation level, when you're doing things, it really influences lots of things. So if you have low motivation, you're gonna have low engagement, low productivity, and so you're gonna have a lower chance of innovating. Conversely, higher motivation, higher engagement, higher productivity, and higher chance of innovating. So Greg McCowan, New York Times bestseller, says lots of things, but something that really stuck out to me was when you're going to do something, try not to say like, I have to. When you say I have to, you're sort of like boxing yourself in and giving priority to what you're about to do, and you're also setting what your motivation level is about to be. If you start trying to use I choose to, you open yourself up to, or you remind yourself really that you're choosing to do this thing and you have options, such as not following like the examples for to-do list verbatim. You can implement on that and do something that you're really interested in, so you're not taking those long breaks. So for me, what motivates me is RPG. So Final Fantasy when I was a kid, and that's what ultimately brought me to wanting to learn RPGs while using React and Redux. Redux was pretty tough for me to take on, and a lot of documentation for me to read. So really what I want to take away from this is, if you find yourself making another to-do list app or something similar, and you're finding yourself tired and taking lots of breaks, first make sure you're eating well, that you're sleeping well, and then after that, remind yourself that, you know, subconsciously you can influence your motivation level. And that was my talk. Thank you.
Any questions? Did you want to answer any questions, Justin? No? That's totally cool. That's totally cool. I think that's, there are a lot of good points raised there. I remember, especially as a student, when I would be looking for projects to try to take on, just to work on the side, whether that be to beef up my portfolio or really just for fun, having a list of ideas was really helpful, just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and maybe revisiting it a few months later and seeing what intrigues you. But huge props to Justin for giving a talk. That's not an easy thing to do, especially as a Turing student. It takes a lot of stones to come up here and do that, or a lot of courage. So thanks, Justin. With that, I'm trying to share the airplay here while I talk, but I'm not very good at multitasking. So we're just going to skip our break, and which is totally fine, but we're going to bring up Gabi if you're ready. Looks like she's not. So do you want to take a break? She's going to connect everything. So I will stall for her while she does that. No, we actually met Gabi as an organizing team just in the last 6 months. She joined us and has been a huge help in a number of ways. So I think she just started her first job here, or second job here with EchoBind, right?
Yes.
And yeah, she's been a huge joy to work with. So please do give her a round of applause while I help her set up.
You cannot hear me if I don't have. Yeah.
Disconnected that time.
I
Yeah, feel free to come grab more salad, or whatever you need. There we go. Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna start now. On my topic of React navigation, just starting my timer. So I make sure I don't drone on too long for ya. So, okay, so hi, I'm Gabi, as Sam introduced me. I'm a developer at Echobind. I was gonna save my jobs speech for the slide. So we're an agency that's based out of Boston, but we're all remote. I don't think there's a ton of people who actually live in Boston anyway, so at the company. But we are currently getting a lot of mobile projects, and we're looking for some React Native developers. Right now I'm working with Apollo React Native and hooking that up to GraphQL on the back end. So if you're at all interested in that, come see me. I'll also leave my contact information at the end of the presentation if you want to hit me up on Slack in Denver Devs if you're in that, or on Twitter. I'm also there. So let's start. So, all right, what's the first slide? You would not believe how nervous I get when talking publicly. So bear with me. All right, so unless your life consists of making 1 million single-page applications every day, you're going to need to use routing at some point. Yeah, in order to transition to different pages, different screens within your app. So on the browser side, some of you might use or be familiar with React Router. I'm gonna try and do a lot of, or most comparisons of what would be used in web versus mobile. I'm not sure, I guess, how many people currently work in React Native or have done some things in React Native? So a few, okay. And I'll give a higher level view later on. But what React Router offers is dynamic routing. So unlike static routing, which declares routes as part of the initialization of your app, dynamic routing happens as the app is rendering. And that would look like a component wrapped up inside of your router there. And then ta-da, you have your router. So the nitty-gritty version, React navigation, does best when static routing is employed. So technically it is a static router. However, there are also ways to make it sort of dynamic. It's sort of a weird hybrid, but technically still static. And I'll explain more about that later. Something else that the browser has that React Native does not come with is the concept of a stack. So think about the process of what happens when you click on a link or press on a link, aside from what happens with an API. So you click and press the link, then the navigator or router finds that link and then throws that on the stack. I was really hungry when I wrote this, and pancakes sounded good. So we're adding pancakes to the stack. And then, you click back, and it'll take it off the stack. So React Native doesn't come packaged with magical pancake stack navigation system. And that is where React Navigation steps in to provide us that method to transition to screens and to manage your history. So what's next? Okay, and then with my high-level view of React Native, so what that is, if you haven't heard of it or haven't used it, so it is a way for you to craft mobile applications using React. It uses native components rather than web components, so you're not going to use any div tags or input tags, A tags, things like that. The same UI foundations that are in Objective-C or Java mobile apps would be used. They're just wrapped up in a pretty React Bow so that you can use that and not have to learn the other two languages. And let's go to the next one. Yes, okay, so back to pancakes. So a commonly used navigator in React Navigation is called the create stack navigator. So what this is a function that will return a component that will take a route configuration object, and that will have a key that will be the route name, and then the value, which will be the configuration for the route. So in this case, I'm assuming you guys need that in big-end. I don't know if I can or not. Over here. That's a no. Okay. So basically we're calling that function to create the stack navigator. What we're passing in there is one of our routes. So one of them will obviously be a home screen. Everyone's got one. We're going to call it home. And then the screen we're referring to is the home screen component that we have imported up here. All right. So, and what's nifty about this is that it returns a component that you can export. So you can use this in like your main app file so that you have something to refer to that goes across all your screens and you can navigate all over the place. So, in terms of transitioning in the browser, this would happen via an onClick prop or an href attribute, something like that. So React Navigation passes the navigation prop to each screen. And that prop includes a multitude of different functions that you can use. One of those being the navigate function, which does the simple thing and navigates to the next scene with the route passed to it. And I'm going to show you an example here. So here I have a button, and which is a touchable highlight, an example of one of the components you can use in React Native. And when I click to navigate from that, or when I press on that, it's going to call from the navigation props the navigate function, and I pass in the next scene name, which then goes to that next scene. Question?
So the next scene references, like, it would be home based on the create stack navigation?
Correct. Yeah, whatever you named it in the create stack navigator is where it will go. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. So in terms of scene stacking, so navigation would, excuse me, shouldn't have had that pizza before. So navigation provides several different methods for getting around the navigation stack. So you can just navigate to the scene, which will pop it on top of the stack. You can do the push function, which will let you just push another scene on top of the stack as well. I'll demonstrate how that works as well. Because if you, for example, if you navigate to the same scene that you were currently in, it's not going to push anything else on your stack. Why would it? You're already there. So with push, it will do that again and again and again. And then the go back function would naturally go backwards in the stack. There's another one called like pop to top, which will take you all the way back to the beginning if you need to do that. So yeah, those are some of what's available to you. So this is an example of the push function where I'm simply navigating to the same screen I'm in, and you'll see it's transitioning into the screen every time. On the right side, I'm logging out the props for navigation. So each time, it adds to the stack, it logs again and again. And I should have opened up everything, but each time it logs on, or gets on the stack, it has a key assigned to it, and the number at the end will increment with each stack that comes in. And then an example of the go back function is just right here. Typically, most people will just use the back button that's in the top left of most iOS phones, or I think Android uses some too. I can't remember, but yes. So it's not something I've used a ton, but it's there if you need it. Another helpful piece with React navigation is being able to pass parameters between routes. So in my experience, this has been most helpful, when I need to kind of do a nested route scenario. So I'll show you an example of a little mini app I crafted where I've got a bunch of buttons, and maybe it's something like an actor profile list or something like that. Each button belongs to an actor. When you click on the button, it should take you to a profile for that actor. Now, I wouldn't want to render like a million different pages or components to accompany each actor. That would just be a ton of work I don't want to do, and developers are lazy, you know. What you can do is when you are navigating to another route, you can pass an object in there as a parameter and access it through the navigation prop on the page that you are navigating to. Now, this only works with navigation and with push. So it won't work on, or no, it doesn't work on push. It only works with navigation. That's right. So yeah, let me show you how that is done. Go next. So here I've got a bit of the code I wrote for this. So this was like a little color translation app where you'll click on a button that will have just different colors, and then it will translate that into whatever hex color that is. And I also translated it into Spanish too, so why not? Yeah. So I'm declaring my props up at the top, and then I made a flat list, which is a component where you can pass in an array of values, and it will just go through and map out everything and spit out whatever item you wanted it to render for each item in that array, which is super handy. So yeah, with the button that I'm rendering, I'm navigating to a color translation screen, and I'm passing in the current item as the color. So we'll show you what that looks like. So this is that screen, and then it passes over those parameters. And then I think I better put in the code for how I access that. I'm gonna be mad if I didn't. But basically, so how that works is when I go to render this screen, I would drill down into that navigation prop, and within the navigation prop state, it will hold a params object, and from there, that's where your item will be that you passed into it. And then you can just throw it out willy-nilly, however you needed to do that. Another configural piece that you'll likely touch with React Native or React Navigation is the header. By default, that comes as like plain gray bar or white bar with a back button. Sometimes you don't want a back button, sometimes you want a logo in the header, sometimes you want to change the image of the back button or whatnot. So there's a ton of different configuration options available for the header as well. And you can even call that as a static function in your component to apply more dynamic styles to it as well. So what do I have here? Okay, so I have an example of how I implemented that here with the color app. So on the home screen, what I would do within the stack, since I'm not dynamically changing it, is just pass in a navigation options object. And from there, you can define the title of your screen. You can change the color of the text, or do all the other fancy things you want to do. But that's going to stay there. On the color screen is where I made it more dynamic by declaring a static function there. So I'm accessing those navigation props and I'm returning the title with the params that I passed in. So there's an example of navigating down to the params that I passed in. So yeah, I passed in that color or the title, and it's gonna show in the top, which I'm sure you've seen before. Yeah. And then, yeah, as mentioned previously, yeah, we can use those params passed into navigation as a way to make other scenes be more dynamic, yet they're still considered static elements. So that's just a closer view of what you could do there. And also with those navigation options, you can share those across the whole stack that you're declaring as well. They'll be put in as default options. They're totally able to be overridden as well. You would just have to do that route by route or screen by screen. Yeah. So as a summary, React navigation makes things pretty easy to set up routing within React Native. You're able to manage stacks a lot better and manage your history compared to having to kind of jerry-rig something together from the native code. And it's totally customizable. You can make it your own. And yeah, I've been using it for almost 2 years now, so I don't have a ton of complaints. I mean, it can't do everything for you, so it does have limitations. I do have some resources, which are mainly the React Navigation docs, React Native docs, and things like that. So yeah, thank you. There's my contact information. And if anyone has any questions, I might have answers.
To use navigation in React Native, are you finding that you're having to inject from straight React Native app?
I haven't done that.
Sam, give
Mainly.
her the mic.
Sorry,
Oh, sorry.
I'm hogging it over here.
I haven't done that. When we've started an app, it's been mainly from scratch. Yeah, so I'd have to check on if you have to inject for Create React Native App. I don't think you do.
You don't have to.
She knows. You don't. Awesome.
What were some of the situations you ran into that you felt like this maybe like was a limitation to whatever problem you were trying to solve in terms of navigation? Can you think of anything specifically?
One specific thing was animations for screen transitions. If you wanted it to slide in from the left or the right or the bottom, you would have to do something natively. didn't offer much there. I think the person I was working with who wanted really crazy things too, so which didn't help. I mean, not that it can't be done, but it could not be done with React navigation. Yeah. Also, no, I don't think that's a huge problem. I was trying to think if, with some nested routes and some of the tabbed components you can use in React navigation, because they'll offer like a tab bar too, which is a separate API in itself. Sometimes screen transitions can get a little wonky with that, and you do have to play with some properties there.
Yeah, so in the apps that you're making, are you making also the web version of it? And how much of the code is like reusable over both of the things?
We treat them as separate entities altogether. The only thing we share is the API, essentially, yeah.
And the web version is built in React?
Yes, I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm not doing it, so. Yeah. Yeah, go for it.
On your slide about navigate, I was just trying to kind of figure this out. It said that if it didn't exist in the stack, it would navigate to it. Does that mean if it doesn't exist at all in it, or if it just doesn't exist as like the last item in the stack?
Oh, if it doesn't exist as the last item.
Okay. Yeah,
If it's not at all, the simulator will go red and get mad. And yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you all for listening.
I'm gonna steal the airplay back one more time. Yeah, so thanks again to Gabi and Justin. Please, everybody give them one more round of applause. Yeah, like I said earlier, I think it takes a ton of courage to come up here and speak for the first time. And you know, there are some people who get up and make it look really easy, and I have a lot of respect for anybody who's willing to put their neck out there and give a talk about something that maybe they're not too familiar on. So I would love it if we had more of that, and so I would encourage everyone here to maybe consider giving a talk in 2019, because we would love to have you. And if that's something you're interested in, please come talk to any one of us here. If you're on the organizing team, I realize I don't think I've done this. Can you guys raise your hand just so people know who you are? Yeah, Gabi's also on it, and these three gentlemen over here. Myself and Will Klein, who couldn't make it tonight. But we're always looking to add to that team. We're always looking to have more speakers and get some new topics in the meetup. So we can always stack additional talks as well. So speaking of that, we actually have some openings. We're pretty filled up here at the beginning of 2019, thankfully, but we do have openings in April and beyond, maybe lightning talks in there somewhere. So, start thinking of some stuff that you want to talk about next year. And we've got a lot of exciting changes in React coming, so maybe there's some stuff there that you'd like to speak about. Other than that, I think we've pretty much covered it all. So enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for coming, and happy holidays, everybody. Thanks.
Yeah, I know.
Take April.